Hi, I'm the amateur logician. Together, let's look at a pretty neat application of the indirect proof, or the Reducto ad absurdum proof, and that is the paradox of the Barber. Recall that a Reducto ad absurdum is a reduction to the absurd. What's absurd is that we're going to be able to derive a contradiction, and that contradiction is the absurdity. We can also call a Reducto ad absurdum proof, for example, a proof by contradiction, because we're getting a contradiction, we're deriving a contradiction. What we're going to do is show the falsity of an assumption by deriving from that assumption a contradiction. And that contradiction is, in fact, an absurdity. So we have the paradox of the Barber. Strictly speaking, this is not a paradox because we can, I believe, more or less solve this in a straightforward manner, but nevertheless, here's the claim. There's a barber who shaves all and only those who don't shave themselves. The question is, does the barber shave himself? We can think about this in terms of a dilemma, because there are two possibilities. Does the barber shave himself? Well, one possibility is that he does. That's one possible answer. Or the other possible answer is he doesn't. And we can consider both possibilities. So let's say he does shave himself. Well, we have to consider that in terms of the claim. Namely, there's a barber who shaves all and only those who don't shave themselves. But wait a minute. If he does shave himself, then according to that claim, he doesn't shave himself because he only shaves those who don't. So if he does, he doesn't. But on the other hand, when considering that second possibility that he doesn't, based on the claim he does. Why? For the same exact reason. He's a barber who shaves all and only those who don't shave themselves. So if he doesn't, he does. But if he does, he doesn't. So we're ending up at a contradiction. We have this endless loop, but it's really a contradiction. And that's why this barber cannot exist. It's a trick question. Does the barber shave himself? Such a barber cannot exist. So if he does, we end up at the conclusion that he doesn't shave himself. But if he doesn't, we end up at the conclusion he does shave himself. But then we have that contradiction. So inherently, the claim is nonsensical. Inherently, embedded within it is something that's incoherent, something that's contradictive by its very nature. We can also show this, so to speak, in a more explicit, semi-formal manner, step by step. Line 1. Let's assume he doesn't shave himself. Line 2. But then based on the claim, he must shave himself. Line 3. Clearly, line 2 contradicts line 1. So line 4, in this part of our semi-formal proof, we can say, therefore, by a reductio, he does shave himself. Okay, we're not done yet. We haven't proved that such a barber doesn't exist yet. But we also haven't proved that he does shave himself because, look, for line 5, we'll just assume he does shave himself. 6, but then based on the claim, he must not shave himself. 7. So clearly line 6 contradicts line 5. So 8 Therefore, by Reductio, he doesn't shave himself. So now we have the contradiction. On line 4, we reach the conclusion he does shave himself. On line 8, we have the conclusion he doesn't. He does and he doesn't. So, for 9, we'll say 4 contradicts line 8. And because of this, we can say the barber does not exist. Because we're led to a contradiction, there's some incoherency, we might say, in the claim itself, because the claim itself leads to this contradiction. So this is a pretty neat, I think, application of a reductio ad absurdum proof. And that solves the paradox of the barber.